I am on a mission, and I'm wondering whether you want to be part of my mission. Now, let me explain. I have a son who is now entering year 11. This is the big GCSE year. Woo! This is where it all comes down to. All these years in school. So to have made school of any benefit whatsoever, he needs to get good grades. Now, whether you agree with the system that that our children take their GCSEs and apply for these exams, or whether you think actually your kids can get by without the exams, that's entirely up. Hi everybody, I am on a mission, and the reason why I'm on a mission is my eldest son is going through his year 11, which is the GCSE exams. So it's going to be quite a big year for us, because we're going to have to really make sure we've got routines in place. And even though I know he's the one doing the exams, I've definitely realised that I have a big part to play in it as a parent. Let me explain. You see, he was given the opportunity to take an exam early. Well, he actually took 2 exams early. And this, I thought, was a brilliant idea, because what it allowed him to do was give a trial run of what it was going to feel like. But of course, times 11 of that. I think he's taking 11 subjects. Well, it's somewhere between 11 and 13. I can never remember. But so he took main GCSE early. And this GCSE he did was religious studies. Now, it wasn't necessarily an exam that he was particularly confident in. It wasn't necessarily one that he was really engaged in. So we really were going from ground zero to do with motivation, enthusiasm and all those things. So what I was thinking was, during this process, I put in place a lot of strategies and things as a parent to help him with regards to all this. And so I've kind of done a test run, and I actually realised what a difference it made. And I know you can't say this, but I do truly believe that if I hadn't got myself proactively involved and shimmied him along and given him the guidance that I did, he probably would have passed it and hopefully got a 4. But the thing was, with all the support and the work that I kind of guided him through and supported him with, he ended up with a level 7, which is actually a grade A if you're looking at the old system. Now, I think to take an exam a year early, not be particularly motivated or interested in it, and to end up with a grade A, well, I think that's a fabulous job. And it kind of proved to me how important my role was, and actually what I could do to enable him to get the best out of this experience. So having done that practice run for last year, we're going to do it all again. But this time, I was wanting to share the approaches that I took. And I wondered if there's anybody else out there who has a son or daughter that is going to do their GCSEs. They are just entering year 11. Now, if you're a parent and you're actually wanting to know what your part is that you can play, why don't you join me? I mean, also, if you're the actual student, the son or daughter, you're very welcome to join this mission. Either way, I'm quite happy for parents or the students themselves, because what I want to do is set up a network, and in this network I would like to provide lots of content that I learned last year going through this practice run. And the kind of things I thought really that I could contribute towards this would be things such as how to motivate. What are the techniques we can do for motivation? The motivation skills to get you started and to keep you going. What do you need to put in place to help you on your road? And I found this invaluable last year to help motivate my son. All the things I put in place for him to get that motivation going. The second thing would be about skills around organisation. What makes you more productive and successful? We found out a few organisational skills last year that we're definitely going to put in place this year that I really want to share with you lot. Time management is a key. Getting to grips with the time, which reduces stress and actually saves a lot on your time. The other thing I thought I could give forward is skills for effective research. What is it that's going to help you find the answers? We went through a really interesting process where he did some practice papers last year it was sort of late October, and that revealed a number of things. Predominantly in the final questions, you can, I think it was, get about marks of 12. Can't remember exactly, but you get a very high mark, whether it's 8, I think it was 12. And when he did some practice papers, it was kind of coming to the surface. He was getting 2 marks. So you can imagine this raised some alarm bells. And when I analysed his answers, I kind of realised what he wasn't doing was making the use of point, evidence, explain. He was doing it in other subjects, but for some reason he hadn't executed this skill within the religious studies. And I truly think he didn't actually really know what the examiner was looking for. So of course what we did was we broke this down into very small segments to allow him to understand what point is, what evidence is, and how you can explain it, which actually can be quite complex at times when you've got quite a deep and what's the word I'm trying to look for? A deep and quite complex answer to it. And this is what we did a lot of practice. And brilliantly, in his next set of exams, he started to get grades of 9 points out of 12. So you can see from just going from 2 points to 9 points, you can see already how that accelerated his level. So that's the kind of things we can be looking at, the complex answers, looking at the answers with the big point factors that can move you on. Revising, this is a key one, skills for exam preparation. What is it we can do to support our sons and daughters in preparing themselves? Remembering, that's really tricky, isn't it? Especially when their brains are becoming full, and they're doing 10 other subjects, they're trying to remember so many different factors. But what I'd like to share with you is how to make your memory work for you. And we came across quite a few strategies that I can share. Again, writing is a key aspect to all the subjects. Focuses on successful writing for exams. How are the examiners looking for the answer to be structured? And of course, learning to learn. These are ways I can share with you to accelerate your learning and make it more effective. There are so many different things as parents we can put in place to support students to make sure they absolutely perform at their very best. And I would love to share all these techniques with you. Also, what I was thinking about, I have very close networks with people that are experts in mathematics, experts in English. I'd love to pull them into our network and allow you guys to ask them questions and allow you to get as much information from them. I would love to provide the support. It's all going to be free, and I'd also like the idea that with you guys coming on board, you're also going to motivate me and keep me accountable to keep what I promised to put in place for my son. How I was thinking of structuring it was they roughly have my son has about 8 weeks until he has, once the term starts, he has about 8 weeks until he has his first set of mocks. And those first set of mocks are really enlightening to really find out where your child is at in all their subjects. Now, if you are homeschooling, you could put a similar structure in place. In the last week of October, you could actually put some practice papers for your son or daughter to go through, and then we can look at them together and identify where they're lacking, where they can make greater improvements. And then, of course, what that gives us time before the next set of mocks around Easter, which is their last set of mocks before the exams, where we can do a practice run to see what's working and what isn't working, to give us enough time for the next following 8 to 10 weeks when the actual exams happen. So what I'm thinking of doing is breaking it down into 3 segments. 3 segments so that we've got 8-10 weeks, 8-10 weeks, 8-10 weeks. That will vary on exactly when their exams are, but roughly giving us that part. So who is coming to join me? Now, you may think I'm absolutely raving bonkers at the moment, and you're thinking, Heidi, it's coming up to the end of August. Why are you bothering now? Why don't you leave it till Easter? I've definitely learned the earlier you start, the greater it reduces stress and pressure, without a shadow of doubt. We learnt this, and I tell you why I know in particular is I started my son quite early, similar timing to what I'm doing this one, and you know what? The last 4 weeks before the actual exam, for some reason, we both seem to really pull back the pressure on keeping our routine going. I don't know why, but in those last 4 weeks, well, actually, I do know why. I had a lot of distractions. I had some courses that I would take, and they were starting to take my time. So I was actually keeping my finger off the pulse. And because of that, he started to keep his finger off the pulse. But you know what? We didn't really have to worry because we'd put all that time in. So really, 4 weeks prior, there wasn't such as much intensity, and it took huge pressure off. However, in saying that, I do believe if we'd kept those 4 weeks on with a bit more rigour, then he could have got his A star. So, but you know what, he got his grade A, which is brilliant, and the fact that he did it a year early. So let's do this all again, but of course with many, many subjects. And the other thing is, I hear so many parents who, like a couple of weeks before their GCSEs, or they get to Easter and they say, Heidi, can you help? And I'm like, well, we've got to be realistic with how much time we've got left. So who's going to join me on this mission? I'm setting up a private Facebook page where we can interact. It is all free, and I'm hoping you're going to give as much kind of as your knowledge as well as the things you learn as we go through this journey together, because it's such a learning process. Every student is individual, every lifestyle for every parent and student is individual, and it has to work for you. But what I'm hoping is if we stay together as a group for this year, we can hold each other accountable, and that's what I'm looking for, to keep the momentum going. So give it some thought. Why not join me? I'm going to be doing it anyway, but it would be great if other people can benefit from it as well. So if you want to, just type in the comment, I'd like to join, or count me in, and I'll send you the link. It's going to be a private page where we can keep it quite, because I'm sure there's going to be times I'm going to be sharing some personal information, the days that don't go so well, the issues, the problems, the successes, and I might not necessarily want that out to the world, but those people who are in that private Facebook page, we can go through this journey together. So who wants to join me? Come on, let's get this going. I have got loads of information I can share with you. It's all free, and it will just start the momentum going. Please don't leave it too late. Let's start now. We know we've got a year. Well, just under a year, haven't we? There are exams in June. Let's get this cracking. Okay, guys, I'm up for it, and I hope you are. Let me know.